let's acknowledge the fact that designers are everywhere in every business, every sector, every industry. It's really hard to be a business today without having at least one designer, and we can thank Apple and a few other, companies over the last, 15, 20 years who've really elevated and championed good design. What's the famous quote by IBM? Good design is good for business, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And so, we want our members within the climate designers community to really speak up at work, to take a stand on projects if it interferes with their values. We want to provide a support system for them so that when they run into these hurdles or challenges in their work, whether it's pitching an alternative material that the client's hesitant about, or maybe even shaping a whole campaign around a more specific, better cause, we want them to feel that they're supported from our members, right? We want them to feel confident enough to perhaps even get a new job that aligns more with their values, or maybe even start a business to right some of the wrongs in the world. And so, we believe that designers are a special group, and we use creativity to solve problems. We have the ability to visualize ideas. We, craft important messages. We design interactions that encourage people to take action. Designers strive to create beautiful objects and experiences. And if we can direct that energy towards unfucking the world, if we can drive that energy and drive towards reimagining new systems and institutions for the positive benefit of all living species, talk about a great design challenge, And so what we're trying to do with climate designers is really, again, just to provide that support system, resources, collaboration opportunities. We want to just get that out there so that designers feel more confident and attacking, not even attacking, but just approaching this big, gnarly thing that we're all facing. And it's not really climate change too. It's a lot of other issues that are stemming from it. We're talking about deforestation. We're talking about, people that are being displaced by these natural disasters. It's affecting every part of our lives. And if you're a company today that isn't doing something, isn't taking a stand, I don't think you're going to be a company in 5 years. And a lot of that has to do with, our population. Yeah, at least in the US, I heard this statistic the other day, Gen Z and millennials now outnumber baby boomers. And so you have these baby boomers dying off. You have this new wave of younger people that are more climate woke, if I want to, if I can say that phrase, that give a shit and who are willing to maybe even pay extra to buy an object or do a thing that is better for the planet, that they feel good about, that's coming from a company with shared values, right? And so if you're a company today that isn't taking a stand, you're going to, I don't know, I don't think you'll be around for very long. And not even in terms of having your audience or customers buy whatever it is you offer, but even attracting and retaining talent within your company. There's a lot of people in our community who are wanting to find more meaningful work. And I think that's just a thing for everyone, really, to seek out work that aligns with their values. And so, yeah, I think we're seeing a shift in business as well, where social impact or social responsibility isn't just this little department, in the corner of their office building. It should be baked in. It should be part of their DNA as a company. And so, yeah, like I said, if you're a company that doesn't have that already, then good luck. Good luck being around.
I completely agree. You were talking about the bullshit narrative earlier of capitalism, consumerism above all else. And really, it doesn't have to be either or. Like, that's part of that. The bullshit narrative is you can choose the environment or you can choose to make money, but you can't have both. But now we're seeing this shift. At the same time, there's going to be business leaders that think, well, that sounds great, but I've got to make money right now. I've got to stay profitable. How do you convince them to go for those long-term gains if they're seeing short-term profit from cutting corners that damage the environment?
Yeah, the old bottom line question.
Yeah. How can you convince those people?
Sure. Well, okay, I'm going to give you an answer. You might not like it, or it might not answer your question directly. But the way that I think about it is there are two ways of answering that question. One, fuck the bottom line. Or second, redefine the bottom line. So that first one, fuck the bottom line, right? A thought that I've been, having in my mind the last, couple of years is you can't, let's just be honest, you can't do business on a dead planet, period.
Right.
you know,
Right.
so as much as we're trying to save money or trim corners or, whatever our margins, blah, 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 whatever industry jargon, you just can't do business on a dead planet. And so your product or service won't really matter to your customers or audience if they're stressed out about the wildfire that's coming into their homes, or they're seeing the Cat 5 hurricane speeding towards their city, which is causing disruption. That will cause disruption in supply chains or this and that, whatever.
Right. Right. Right.
It doesn't matter, right? If other people are more concerned about just surviving, right? And so certain businesses and industries got us into this mess. Certain businesses and industries can get us out of this. And the other, like I said, there's two answers to that question. The other answer would be to redefine the bottom line. Infinite growth on a finite planet just doesn't work. You can do the math, crunch the numbers.
Yep.
You will know that that's just not happening, right? And so I think we really have to ask ourselves, what is the role of business today? And what's the role of business going to be in the future? What's the reason that they really exist? If growth is the only reason, then that won't cut it. Like I said, just do the math. So we have to really move beyond this idea of growth. And if we organize an economy around principles of equity and sufficiency, societies can really deliver high values can really deliver high levels of human well-being, which will significantly use less energy and resources, and that will provide a more richer, thriving benefit in society, right? So I think we really have to reimagine where business plays in all this, and might have to come up with some hard answers that might not satisfy a lot of people, but we might just have to, bite the bullet. And so I don't know. I think business can be a channel for good, but I think we really have to get out of this 20th century mindset when it comes to viewing business how we used to, and really put on this 21st century mindset when it comes to redefining where business plays in all this.
Absolutely. That's a great answer. Glad you gave two options, because I think that first one's gonna gonna cause a lot of business owners to ignore you. So I'm glad you gave them that second choice, even though I I agree with you on both points. That's great. But then greenwashing is going to be a problem too. I mean, you can have a product that's harmful to the environment, but you slap a green leaf in your logo, you make some kind of claim that's not really true, and businesses think they can trick people. How do designers and individual consumers hold businesses accountable when they're making climate friendly promises?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we strive for in our community, is to create that support system so that when a designer is faced with that in their workplace, they know exactly how to stand up and speak up. And we want them to feel comfortable. We want them to know to have the knowledge, right? It's one thing to be really skilled in your creative profession. It's another thing to understand the complexity and the more holistic approach when it comes to where design and your specialty can play a role, and the impact that your designs can have on the world. And so, yeah, we want people to speak up. We want designers to speak up. We want them to have that knowledge and that language to speak up and feel confident in doing so. And so there's a great book by Mike Montero called Ruined by Design that if any designers listening to this should definitely pick it up and read it. He talks about, it's mostly engineers and people in tech that are the gatekeepers of all the things that we experience online, on our apps, on our phones, things like that. But you can definitely swap out a lot of words and put design in there in that book, and really take away the same thing. So I think designers can definitely speak up. We are the gatekeepers before a thing goes live or before it launches or gets published or whatever. I think with consumers too, as I mentioned, millennials and Gen Zs, again, they just outnumber baby boomers. So they have the purchasing power. And so these, especially younger people, and I teach part-time, I surround myself with 20, 19, 20, 21-year-olds because of my students. They can call out bullshit, man. Their bullshit detector is on point. And again, they are willing to pay that extra buck or two if they know that the company that they're supporting is actually authentic and real. And if you were just slapping labels on a product or whatever, you will no doubt be called out on it. And there's a lot of people online that are kind of the investigator influencers, right? I just made up that phrase, but they're the ones that are like, oh, okay, you claim to be XYZ. Okay, cool. Let's pull up Google, and it's just a few searches later. No doubt they will find if you are true or not in that statement, in that label that you're slapping on, right? And so I think, I think again, would you be willing as a company to risk that, to slap on that label just to look good on the shelves, to look good online, but then be called out on it?